Piracetam has been shown to increase cerebral circulation, improve creativity and verbal fluency, boost memory, learning and recall, and improve mood. Piracetam is a water-soluble ampicine nootropic in the racetam class of compounds. Piracetam was first synthesized at a Belgian-based pharmaceutical company, UCB, back in 1964. Piracetam is considered to be the first true nootropic that was ever developed. As a class derivative of GABA, piracetam was first intended to be a calming type of drug for motion sickness, but in spite of its connection with GABA, piracetam didn't show any behavior that was associated with this calming neurotransmitter, and it cannot directly affect the GABA receptor. Instead, it was discovered that piracetam, unlike many of the so-called nootropics, was able to boost cognition, even in healthy people. The company launched this drug as Nutripil in Europe in the early 1970s. The success of Nutripil soon allowed UCB Pharma to expand its operations, which led to many new pharmaceutical drugs. The term nootropic was made to describe this class of cognition-optimizing compounds. Piracetam is sold as a prescription drug in Europe. In the US, piracetam is sold as an over-the-counter supplement. Dozens of racetam derivatives have since been developed based on the original piracetam molecule. All synthetic compound racetams share a pyridol nucleus. Piracetam modulates the AMPA receptor, and it boosts the function of acetylcholine in the brain. A favorite racetam among nootropic community, piracetam is used to boost memory and learning. Many neurohackers start with piracetam because it works, it's considered safe, and is cheaper than most of the other nootropics in the racetam family. Piracetam is a potent analgesic or anti-pain compound. The analgesic effect is related to the inhibition of inflammatory markers, including interleukin-1 beta, and the prevention of reduced glutathione, ferric reducing ability, and free radical scavenging. Piracetam potentiates the flow and it increases the effect of acetylcholine in the brain, and studies have shown that it significantly improves learning and memory. Piracetam increases blood flow in the brain. Better blood flow delivers more oxygen and nutrients to neurons, improving cognition, memory, and focus. Piracetam is a cyclic derivative of GABA, but oddly enough, it doesn't affect GABA's receptors in the brain. Instead, piracetam was found to modulate the AMPA and the NMDA receptors and improve the function of the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. AMPA and NMDA receptors, along with acetylcholine, are associated with learning and memory, and when piracetam is stacked with a choline supplement, its effects are even more pronounced. Research has shown in hundreds of clinical studies that piracetam significantly improves learning and memory. Piracetam also increases the cerebral blood flow. The blood delivers oxygen and glucose needed for cellular metabolism, and this helps to carry away waste molecules. It's critical for a highly optimized brain. Piracetam boosts the brain health and function in many ways. A German study conducted with lab mice showed that piracetam elevated the NMDA receptor density, and it normalized the way that these receptors worked with L-glutamate, similar to that of a healthy brain. Deficits in the level of the NMDA receptor could be one of the mechanisms of action that underlies age-related cognitive decline, and the research concluded that piracetam showed cognition-enhancing properties. The effect on the NMDA receptor site is directly related to our interest in using piracetam for long-term potentiation and the support of long-term memory formation. Neuroplasticity is dependent on activation of NMDA receptors, and this neuroplasticity is at the heart of memory formation. Reviews of piracetam used by neurohackers frequently report that the return of long-lost memories happens. Further proof of the efficacy in using piracetam to support learning and memory. Piracetam increases cerebral blood flow. Several studies have shown how piracetam positively influences the blood flow in the brain. The cerebral blood flow is critical for a highly optimized brain. The blood delivers the oxygen and the glucose needed for cellular metabolism, and it helps to carry away cellular waste. Strokes can be caused by an interruption in the cerebral blood flow, starving parts of the brain of oxygen and glucose. A double-blind, placebo-controlled study was conducted with 24 stroke patients. One group received 2,400 milligrams of Piracetam twice a day, and the other received a placebo. Before treatment, both groups were comparable in performing during language tests. The study found that Piracetam improved the recovery of various language functions, and this effect was attributed to the increased blood circulation to areas of the brain that are related to language. The placebo group also showed very little improvement in the areas of language. As we get older, our brain chemistry and our metabolism changes, and it seems these changes are affecting younger and younger people these days. There's a decrease in the recall reaction time and learning capacity. The ATP energy levels decline. The density of the AMPA and the NMDA receptors decline. Acetylcholine levels decline, and cerebral blood flow declines. All of these changes are contributing factors to age-related cognitive decline. Early signs of these effects can be seen in poor decision-making, difficulty learning, and even recalling simple things like an important appointment. Piracetam helps to increase the blood flow in the brain, improves oxygen levels, enhances glucose use in brain cells, maintains brain cell mitochondria and ATP synthesis, and Piracetam improves the brain blood flow. So Piracetam is a potent modulator of the AMPA sensitive glutamate receptor in neurons. It increases the density of specific binding sites for the AMPA in neuronal synapses, and this may lead to a long-term increase in IQ even after the discontinuation of Piracetam. Glutamate is the primary excitatory neurotransmitter in the brain. This glutamate activity by the Piracetam affects alertness, focus, attention, memory, and learning. And one of the reasons why neurohackers consistently report that Piracetam improves mental performance and memory. Piracetam increases high-affinity choline uptake, which is the process that occurs in the cholinergic nerve endings, and it facilitates acetylcholine formation. Boosting acetylcholine with Piracetam produces a powerful effect on learning and memory. Piracetam also boosts choline receptor density in the frontal cortex, the area of the brain that's used for working memory and decision-making. ATP energy is critical to your brain's survival. Brain cells must produce all of their own ATP from glucose and oxygen. This brain energy carbohydrate metabolism depends on cerebral blood flow, oxygen uptake, and glucose. Piracetam enhances this glucose utilization, and it increases ATP synthesis needed to power brain cell mitochondria. And Piracetam has analgesic or anti-pain benefits. This anti-pain action is linked to Piracetam's anti-inflammatory properties. Inflammation can cause pain, and studies have shown that Piracetam can have a profound effect on pain. Piracetam boosts acetylcholine transmission, so you should add a good precursor choline source in your diet when you're taking Piracetam. You could try alpha-GPC or CDP choline along with the Piracetam. Most neurohackers report a noticeable benefit from Piracetam after about 2 weeks. Consider that Piracetam is modulating your brain's chemistry, and this change is unlikely to occur immediately. Your brain needs some time to adjust to the new changes in acetylcholine levels and how it uses it. Increased cerebral blood flow takes a while to bring the levels of oxygen and nutrients, and for your neuronal cells to respond. Your mileage may vary depending on your own neurochemical makeup. Many suggest starting with an attack dose for the first 3 days. Taking 3,000 milligram attack dose of Piracetam, for example, to start with will theoretically get more of the supplement into your system right away, so it takes less time to build up before you start to feel the benefits. From there, step down to a maintenance dose and vary the quantity until you find your own sweet spot. Once you begin to notice the effects of piracetam, you're likely to feel a mood boost, less social anxiety, heightened creativity, improved verbal fluency, and better memory. Piracetam reduces social anxiety. We've plenty of evidence that piracetam improves memory in animals and people who are suffering from many types of cognitive impairment. Keep in mind that most of the scientific research available for nootropics is done with sick people trying to get well. The return on investment for research at institutions and universities comes from treating diseases, and not from helping ordinary biohackers try to get a competitive advantage at work or in school. We can, however, extrapolate the findings from these studies and learn if and how something like piracetam can help our memory and our cognition. Once in a while, someone does take the time to conduct a study on healthy people, like this one with normal, healthy volunteers. Research gave a healthy group of participants 1,600 milligrams of piracetam 3 times a day for 14 days. No effects on memory were observed after 1 week. However, after 2 weeks, verbal learning had significantly increased. Researchers in Belgium conducted an analysis of 19 double-blind, placebo-controlled studies done with patients suffering from dementia or cognitive impairment and who took piracetam. The results of the meta-analysis demonstrated the difference between people who used piracetam or a placebo group. The end result of the analysis provided compelling evidence for the usefulness of piracetam in a diverse group of people with cognitive impairment. Several studies and user reviews have shown that piracetam dosage makes a difference, and unlike some other nootropics where you start at a lower dose and work your way up, with piracetam they recommend that you start at a higher dose. A study in Germany with 78 elderly patients showed that there was a significant difference in cognition improvement while dosing piracetam at 1,600 milligrams 3 times a day. There was, however, no difference in cognition when the patients only received 800 milligrams 3 times per day, so the dosage matters when using piracetam. Piracetam is used around the world to treat cognitive impairment in aging, brain injuries, dementia, and Alzheimer's disease. Several studies show that piracetam enhances ATP production, mitochondrial membranes, and neurite outgrowth in the neurons. In this study, scientists investigated the effects of piracetam on mitochondrial function. Human brain cells were treated with piracetam under normal conditions and under conditions imitating aging and damage by reactive oxygen species, and with cells representing early-stage Alzheimer's disease. The cells representing Alzheimer's conditions showed impaired mitochondria function under baseline conditions. Piracetam was able to restore this impairment in cells and shift mitochondrial function back to normal. Recommended piracetam dosage is 1,600 milligrams 3 times per day, often taken with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dosing piracetam varies widely between neurohackers. Many find a small dose of piracetam boosts the benefits and reduces the side effects of other racetams, therefore they use it as a base nootropic along with their preferred choline source. Users also report when stopping after years of daily use, they've actually improved their brain's ability to function, and they've made permanent improvements. This may imply that most individuals have already accrued some form of mild brain injury or impairment, and the piracetam is fixing their problems over time. Piracetam is non-toxic, so it's considered well tolerated and safe. As with many of the racetams, piracetam can cause a headache because it boosts the use of the neurotransmitter acetylcholine in the brain. Choline supplements like alpha-GPC or CDP-choline can help you to avoid this side effect by providing you with adequate precursors. Piracetam is especially helpful for those suffering from most types of age-related cognitive decline. Piracetam is also particularly useful to students and executives who want to boost cognition, learning, and memory. You should use piracetam with a good choline supplement like alpha-GPC or CDP-choline. It helps to boost neural acetylcholine, so it demands the presence of more choline in your brain. The brain can further be boosted when choline is combined with omega-3s, EPA and DHA, and with uridine. This combination has been proven to increase synaptic connections, which could synergize with the piracetam. Lion's mane mushroom increases brain-derived nootropic factor, which will also synergistically combine here. Some boost the daily intake of piracetam up as high as 9,600 milligrams per day if needed. Studies have shown that piracetam is completely non-toxic even at high doses. You may find, however, that a lower dose than this works better for you.